do here, and we'll teach them how to do. And that's not
I'm
what to
not trying
think.
I'm not trying
Mhm.
to show you how to think. I'm not trying to show you what to think. Trying to show you how to think.
There you go.
And this is the Keep It Podcast. Let it roll.
Got the PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, Chime. Hope you got yours, cause I got mine. I'm talking Payoneer, net spin, Venmo, stash. Too many ways for you to run my cash. Check reparation, 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 check. Yeah, well if you talking compensation, it's about that time. You get everybody.
I got you. I got you, bro.
It's been a long time. They got you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into Ooh, yeah.
I got you. Hey, man, we talking about Oklahoma, right? And we got Oklahoma High Court will consider a reparations case from 1921's Tulsa massacre. So they will consider it. They tried to deny it, but guess what? They got to consider it because we own they bumpkins. That's why. Because we ain't backing down, because we stand firm, because there's outlets like this pumping that message out there. What message are we pumping? Hold on, let me show you. We're pumping that we are coming to Washington to get our check. So that means that you should cut the check for foundational Black Americans. This has been a public service announcement. So it goes on to say here that the Oklahoma City Supreme Court would consider a reparations case for survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre after a lower court judge dismissed it last month, giving hope to advocates for racial justice that the government may make amends in one of the worst single acts of violence against Black people in history. Ain't it so funny that they can, this the worst, huh? This the worst that ever happened to Black people in history. Well, ain't it a no-brainer to compensate for it?
Period.
Ain't it a no-brainer that to dismiss the case last month by that judge is an act of anti-Black racism?
And why would the government have to pay if it was just citizens that were all in a tizzy, huh?
Because
Hmm?
it was county, state, and federally sanctioned uh, terrorism against Black people. That's why.
You don't say. And that
Right.
and that plane, where that plane come from?
Oh, you talking about the ones that dropped the bombs on American citizens in their own like city? Uh,
What? Well,
Tulsa
well, well,
County.
well,
Oh,
well,
what?
why you
What?
get a Japanese some money then? Didn't they? Why you get what they get some money for?
Just from going in some internment camps when they thought they was finna do something when they dropped bombs on they people.
Huh.
What
Well, please
about that?
continue, sir.
Nah, that's very good point. I gotta agree with you there. Okay. Tulsa County District Judge Caroline Wall dismissed the case on July 9th. Caroline Wall, let me see what she looked like. She looked like I bet she look like she sound like she got that old racist white lady face. I did not tell you.
You
I
did say so.
told you didn't know. She looked like, yeah. Do you have a key for this pool here? Are you supposed to be swimming here?
And she done took quite a few
Briberies to get
mandingos to the
oh
face.
she done took some mandingos to the face. And right now, allegedly, she has a school to prison pipeline where she has been giving young brothers the flux behind that black robe. Man, they need to look into her cases. That's what needs to happen. They need to check her out. Well, isn't it funny that these decisions don't dictate what decisions that they might make in the courtroom? Just wondering.
Right.
It says that survivors appealed that the state's high court agreed last week to consider whether that the decision was a proper and if the case should return to her court for further consideration. In response to the appeal, the state told the court Monday that it won't consider a settlement with the survivors. The survivors want the state's high court to return the case to the district court to determine exactly what occurred and why it would take what it would take to fix or abate what they allege is continuing nuisance by the massacre. So that means that the clock is still running on everything. So we keep talking about, they keep talking about who owe reparations, blah, 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 blah. Everything is still going on. Nothing ever stopped. And everybody knows it.
Everyone knows it.
The bill's getting bigger. Just 3 survivors of the attack are known to still be alive, but there was a bunch of descendants that need to get their paper.
Hold on. So is that the trick bag language, the survivors? So we just gonna wait till all the survivors die and then cut no check?
That's what they're trying to do. All more than 100 years old. Leslie Benningfield Randall, Viola Fletcher, and Hughes Van Ellis have sued for reparations from the city, state, and others of the white mob's destruction of the once thriving black district known as Greenwood. Several other original plaintiffs who are descendants of survivors were dismissed from the case by the trial judge last year. So, that's what they you're not alive, they don't get it. Nah, they still get it, man. They
And look
still
at them
get it.
holding on over 100 years old. All of them. You think that's a coincidence that all 3 of them is over 100?
Don't. The survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre are heroes in Oklahoma. Has been 102 years and to do right by them. Their attorney, Demario Solomon Simmons, said in a statement to the Associated
Dang! 102 years, they still can't get paid, but the Japanese, cuz they got they check ASAP, Jack.
right after they got out the camp. And they all got $20,000. You know how much money that was back in the 70s, cuz?
Come on now.
They got 20 racks back in the 70s. That was almost like the equivalent of like $500,000.
Real talk.
Now you wonder why there's a Koreatown in every damn city. Chinatown every damn where. Yeah, because they funded them.
Even in Memphis, they say.
That's right. The state's effort to gaslight living survivors, whitewash history, and move the goalposts for everyone seeking justice in Oklahoma puts us all in danger. And that's why we need Oklahoma Supreme Court to apply the rule of law. There's always some different crap going on when black people show up. It says the lawsuit was brought under Oklahoma's public nuisance law, saying the actions of the white mob that killed hundreds of black residents and destroyed have been the nation's most prosperous black business district continue to affect the city's black communities today. It alleges Oklahoma's long history of racial division and tension stems from the massacre. You don't say, right?
And that's why you need to cut the check to the descendants as well, because you just said they're still dealing with the repercussions of that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the state says that the argument was properly dismissed by Judge Wall. The judge properly determined that the plaintiffs failed to outline a clear, infallible, and identifiable claim that for relief, Assistant Attorney General Kevin McClure wrote in the state's response to the appeal. All their allegations are premised on conflicting historical facts over 100 years ago, wherein they have failed to properly allege how Oklahoma Military Department created or continues to be responsible for an ongoing public nuisance. Well, that's really simply easy. Like, y'all stood by while y'all let citizens do it. So that's complicit.
Hold on. No, don't let them. No, you joined in on the reindeer games.
Oh yeah, they was doing
thus
that.
making you complicit.
Yeah, they was joined in too. let's not, because we just read the article where cops were caught saying that they were out in the crowds during the riots as Antifa. So citizens and military alike, both the same thing out there bombing and tearing up these black people's whole city, by the way.
Period. That still
Mc-
hasn't recovered.
McClure claims that the National Guard was active only to quell the disturbance and left Tulsa after the mission was accomplished. The survivors' lawsuit alleges that the National Guard members participated in the massacre, which they did, systematically rounding up African Americans and going so far as to kill those who would not leave their homes. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did. So that makes them complicit. They, you know what? They don't want to own up to it because then I think that this one opens the door for the clear cut culpability of the government because they got the National Guard involved. I think that's what they're going at on this one. Solomon Simmons says that the state response denies the need for restorative justice for black victims. We have people that suffered a harm and are still living and will still be perpetuators of the city, the state, and the county chamber, and those still also alive, he said. Yes, the bombings have stopped, the shootings have stopped, the burning has stopped, but the buildings were destroyed and they were never rebuilt. So, along with the buildings, you also got to say the businesses, and the businesses are directly tied to the livelihood of the descendants. Come on, man, it's not about property. I see they trying to keep it
Mm,
topical. Last but not least, it said the Attorney General's office represents only Oklahoma Military Department. The Tulsa officials have declined to discuss the appeal, citing that the ongoing litigation and the Tulsa Chamber of Commerce attorney previously said that the massacre was horrible, but the nuisance it caused was not ongoing. Well, that's contradictory because you just said that you tore down the buildings anyway. In 2019,
like
Oklahoma's
that didn't make no sense, P.
it's contradictory. They just said it happened and then saying that it's not ongoing after you said it happened.
And after you said it's ongoing because that same black community still hasn't recovered. You just said that.
If it hasn't recovered, then that means it's ongoing.
Duh.
29
Hello,
McFlizzo.
McFlizzle.
In 2019, Oklahoma's attorney general used the public nuisance law to force drug maker Johnson and Johnson to pay the state $465 million in damages for opioid crisis, aka white people.
Period.
But the
Hold on.
Oklahoma Supreme
Is
Court,
that reparations? Huh?
yeah,
I,
for the
you got
government.
me sick. It's your fault. You have to accept your responsibility and pay for your mistake.
Actually, it's a little deeper than that. It's the government giving the ability for drug companies to mass produce the drugs, which was given away freely by the doctors that white people willingly took and got high.
Mm.
How about that? But yeah, reparations nonetheless, though. I don't see why everybody else can get some and we can't get none. But that's because black people ain't outraged enough. Y'all got to get mad about this shit. I think it's working though. I think they getting the message.
We
Tell me
getting
what y'all.
there.
Yeah, we getting there. I definitely see the progress. Especially with like the Tulsa joint. That let me know we getting on code for sure. For sure. See.
And 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 our viewership's increasing,
Mm,
and so people want to be more knowledgeable. P.
yeah. Yeah. Shout out to you know what? We are getting a lot of new subscribers, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Or maybe because I say at the end of this joint, like, share, and subscribe now. Maybe I had to tell y'all the whole time. Well, let me tell you again. That's how we do it. I need you to like for the spike, I need you to comment your vomit. I need you to subscribe if you're live. I need you to share if you're there. If you're a real player, where over there on the platforms we own, Jones. Has this really been that effective? Is that what we've been missing all the whole time? Is just ask
Could be.
Okay, well, do it, y'all. And this concludes another episode of the Keep It P podcast. I'm Jay Lava. It's Teasy Von Savage. I got 4 words for you. It's love with the peace, the blessings, and Maloha out of the Doha for Shoha. You already know with the key.